Hi everyone, Marta here from Calgary Real Estate and Lepage Solutions, coming to you live once again from our beautiful office here in Calgary in the middle of the night because nobody's here during this time. So how's everybody doing? I hope you're doing well and taking it easy, having some good meals, working on your immune systems. And I have been staying home, so I only come out here to do these videos and to work on some of my paperwork. And it's easy to stay in pajamas all day, and this forces me to get out of them. So I'm happy to be here. I am not so happy about the being a bearer of bad news, but it is what it is. I am trying to keep track for myself and for anyone that's interested on the numbers in regards to the coronavirus here in Canada, but also, of course, touching on real estate and the market here in Calgary. So stay tuned as I dive right in. Let's get to the numbers and the difference that we have seen week to week. So overall, Canada is right now 4 weeks into the coronavirus crisis. We are currently at 22,133 confirmed cases across Canada. Last week, we were at 11,268 confirmed cases. We were also at 138 deaths across the country. This week, we have climbed to 569 deaths. So province to province, the difference for anybody that's interested is, I'll start with BC again. We were at 1,121 confirmed cases last week. This week we are at 1,410 cases for BC. They had 31 deaths in their province, and it has climbed to 55 within the past 7 days. Alberta would be next. We were at 969 confirmed cases, and we are catching up to British Columbia at 1,500 cases. Last week we had 13 deaths, and now we are up to 39. Saskatchewan was at 206 confirmed cases. This week we are at 285. They had 3 deaths in their province, and it is currently still sitting at the same number. Manitoba had 167 cases last week for confirmed coronavirus cases. This week we are at 230 cases. They had only 1 death last week. This week we are at 4. Ontario has climbed quite a bit. We were at 2,793 cases. This week we are at 6,237 confirmed cases. Last week we were at 53 deaths for Ontario. This week we are at 222. Quebec is the hardest hit, with last week being at 5,518 cases. This week that has pretty much doubled to 11,677 confirmed cases. Death-wise, we were at 36 for deaths. This week we are at 241. New Brunswick last week was at 91. We are now at 112. 0 deaths. Nova Scotia was at 193 confirmed cases, and they have climbed quite a bit to 407, 2 deaths. Prince Edward Island was at 22 cases last week. This week we are at 25 and 0 deaths. Newfoundland, they were at 183 cases that were confirmed. This week we are at 239. And I don't have their deaths. I don't think they had any, hopefully. Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Nunavut. So last week Yukon was at 6 confirmed cases. This week they are at 8. No deaths. Northwest Territories was at 2 confirmed cases last week. This week they are at 5. And Nunavut is still currently at 0 confirmed cases and 0 reported deaths. So that gives you the gist of it for across provinces. In terms of microbiology tests, let me take a look. Where's my page? Okay. So microbiology tests nationally conducted last week altogether. There were 268,154 patients that were tested, with 243,437 testing negative. Out of that, we had 10,446 that did test positive, and we were at 138 deaths for across Canada. This week, we are at 383,322 patients tested. Total negatives were at 360,207, which is great. However, the numbers of positive tests have doubled to 21,042. And we are at, like I said, 569 deaths, up from 138 last week for across the country. In terms of Canada's response, there's a couple things that have been mentioned after my session on April 2nd. So April 2nd, Canada surpassed 10,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Also, April 2nd, Canada launched the app that they're trying to direct people to provide Canadians with the latest information on the virus and to check their symptoms. On April 3rd, COVID-19 cases reached 1 million across the world. Also on April 3rd, Canada announced an investment of $100 million to improve access to food for Canadians facing social, economic, and health impacts on the pandemic. There's a lot of articles and news going on what's been happening as well otherwise. So some of the alarming things that I have come across was an article by CBC that was released. What date was it? April 9th. April 9th. So they are interviewing, different nurses and staff and seeing what's happening out on the front lines. And, they're reporting that the cases are, becoming very large, and there's a lot of people dying very quickly, and especially in the elderly side. So one nurse was speaking in regards to the patients that she had seen, and she was referencing 3 patients that died within 16 hours of showing symptoms. There's other things happening as well as, things like death certificates being pre-ordered. There's 301 facilities that are being pre-ordered. There's reports of elderly patients not being taken to hospitals when they are showing symptoms because little can be done. And it's very sad. It's very sad, and it's getting worse. There's just no good news that I can give you right now. Real estate wise, let me hop on here. Okay, so we have had a few different things that have come up for realtors. There has been some confusion in regards to emergency benefits that are being available to all self-employed individuals, and technically we do not get paid by anybody if we do not sell a house. So we're in an interesting bracket because there are certain situations like people have firmed up deals in February and possessions might be 30, 60, 90 days out, but people still have not gotten paid. So there's a lot of confusion that has been happening around that, whether realtors qualify for the benefit or not. Are they technically employed still or not? Because we are still open for business, but most people are not getting paid, of course, right now, or there aren't that many deals that are taking place. However, the market is still going to some extent. We have had in Calgary in the past 7 days, we've had 418 listings taken. So there's 418 brand new properties on the market. But for sales, we have seen quite a bit of a decrease. So last week we were at 315 sales for the past 7-day period. This week we are at 183 in total. The week before, I think they were at around, 475, I believe, and the week before that was at 560. So that gives you the numbers for the real estate and the slowdown that we're seeing. There are people, like I said, still taking listings. There are ways to go around it. For example, with everybody being at home, there are people looking at different things on the internet. So it is still good for exposure in that regards, but whether people are making moves, I mean, the numbers are speaking for themselves. They have definitely dwindled, and I'm sure it'll slow down even more until things get a little bit better. Interesting things are being released in terms of, Realtor.ca providing live streaming for open houses and showings and doing tours, and realtors are trying their best to accommodate and showcase properties while everyone still needs, or for those that still need. So that is about it. I don't think I have much more to say. I will be back here next week. Feel free to connect with me anytime if you have questions or concerns. You can reach me at marta@royallepage.ca or call me anytime at 403-667-7220 or at my office 403-252-5900. Okay, have a good night in the meantime. Keep safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys again next week. Okay, take care.